So Netanyahu is triggering the woke right. I think it's great. I think he's doing it to trigger them. He recently was saying that, the woke right is the woke Reich, like the Third Reich. It's not far off, really. But of course it's upset Candace and it's upset Tucker, all the people that, in my opinion, well, first of all, they don't know the Bible. It's hard to know. Do they know they're up to no good? I kind of think they do when they're at that high of, they have that many followers. But here, it's very simple. After we became a superpower after World War II, that's when God raised us up. Because we should have never become some superpower on the world stage, and we've only been around 250 years, okay? No, God had a specific mission for America, though. See, the British Empire, which was over everybody forever and ever, and prior to them, the Roman Empire was, the big empire. But God kept the Davidic power. That's what I refer to it as, like the Davidic throne. He kept it in Britain for, and in 1917 was happy, regardless of what people want to think of the Balfour Declaration. It was always in God's will, always in his plan. If you believe in the Bible, then you must know this, that the Jews are returned to Israel. And everything that God does, he does with the help of man. He does it with man. He uses man to do it. So after World War II, when it was being talked about that Israel deserves to be a state, and at that point, after World War II, Britain had a king, of course, but they had a government too. So they had both, unlike, when kings were just ruling it. And so what happened is that the British government said no to Israel becoming a state. That's when God said, moved the power of the Davidic throne to America, raised up America, and the expectation has been, whether you want to believe it or not, but there's never any time that God raises up a nation without expectations. So he sees all. He had the Protestants, all of them come here, but it was all because he promised. He promised Abraham. He promised. God doesn't break his promises. We do, but he doesn't. So he used us we protect them. So you do not want to stand with the world in hating Israel, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to damn yourself and damn your nation. They do. That's the reason we rapidly became a superpower, because God was using us for that. So unless you want him, if you want to continue down the path with these foolish people, then everybody in this country starting to hate Israel, God will remove the blessing. I don't think that'll happen, though. I think God will wake enough people up to what these people are up to. But that's what happened. So see, it would have been fine after World War II if the government of Britain, which they said no to Israel becoming a state, but the king, on the other hand, that would have been the key. He didn't take a position. That's why God was. See, he took no position. Not that it would have mattered, because the government was, in charge, but he took no position about it. So I think that's really why God was like, okay, we're done here. Even though forever and a day, British Empire's been the main superpower, we're going to raise America up. So that's what happened, and that's the reason we always stand with Israel. They do not control us. That's like when I started hearing that was the stupidest thing I heard. I'm like, I've watched every president tell them to stop. Like when there's a war, they're like, stop, and they stop. So that's not them controlling us. But there's a biblical component to this. It's an old war between Jesus and Rome. And again, the first church started in Jerusalem by Jews. By Jews. Jesus was a Jew. All the apostles were Jews. All the ones you should trust. Paul, yes, there's a lot of writings in the New Testament by Paul. I'm not saying disregard everything, but you got to be careful because some of those books were called into question for their legitimacy, such as Timothy. So this, everything that Rome has said is all what they say. There's no evidence for it. They refer to Peter as the first pope. None of the apostles wanted this because pope in Latin means father. And Jesus said, call no one here father, and he meant church leaders. He didn't even want them, the apostles, to be called rabbi, because Jesus was making it clear the Holy Spirit is the teacher. And the original apostles knew that. What did Rome run with? They created their own doctrine, started putting out to everyone that, no, Peter passed on the succession of the church to us. Well, boy, it's totally opposite of what Peter taught. The way you people look, okay, is one thing. But they created the whole hierarchy. And Jesus didn't want that. I mean, they created a worse hierarchy than the Pharisees. That's how deceptive it's been. And there's no evidence for any of it. It says here, there are no known writings by Apostle Peter specifically about Clement of Rome. Clement of Rome was the third or fourth pope, and he's the one that came up with the succession, like, the governance and the authority figures. Yeah. Except Peter himself did not leave any evidence of this at all. And he was an apostle. The primary surviving writing attributed to Clement of Rome is his own first epistle of Clement, addressed to the church in Corinth, which affirms the authority of the apostles, including Peter, and defends the order and leadership established by them. Yeah, they just waited for all the disciples to be, dead, and then said, nope, we have all of it. So then think about how in Jerusalem was literally the first Christian church, and they stole it. They stole it and they twisted it, and even I think it was Clement. There's nobody knows anything about his background other than him being from Rome, and that but some say that he would, besides only knowing that he converted to Christianity, and then some say he actually was Jewish, which then would even further cement what John said in Revelation about the synagogue of Satan. It's the fake Jew. The fake Jews. But they're not, they stole it. The first church was in Jerusalem. And then they twisted it. That's what they did. Pope Clement I, also known as Clement of Rome, was the fourth pope of the Catholic Church, serving in the late first century, around 88 to 99 AD. He is considered the first of the apostolic fathers. So whenever they say, well, this is said by the apostle fathers, no, they're talking about Rome. Don't listen to them. It's just word of mouth. Again, it's very simple. It's the same war. Jesus up against Rome. It's the same. It's always been the same war. So when you see everyone trying to get you to hate Israel, and the Vatican being very much behind that, by the way, then realize that they don't want you to stand with Israel because they want God to remove his blessing from us. Don't worry about who the chosen, everybody gets all hung up about the chosen people. I can't even imagine being a chosen person, okay? I've said this a million times, just being accepted will be okay with me, all right? Yet all these people, like from Rome to, all want to argue over the chosen people. Well, I can tell you this much, it definitely isn't Rome. It definitely isn't that Vatican. God raised us up to protect Israel because it was always in the Bible that God was bringing the Jews back to their homeland. And that's what we stand by them to protect.